So when they came on that day, the shutter was down and they knocked on the door, on the shutter. And they said, "It's police, police." And obviously the person inside was really afraid. And eventually they opened the shutter and they came in. There was a whole team of policemen and CIDs. There were about 4 police cars out here. And they all came in and they held them down and told them that...
Held them down?
Well, they told them, that you can't use your phone, you can't communicate, and just sit there and you have to wait until further instructions.
Yeah, I see. Can you take us inside the shop then, Agius?
Sure. There was the receptionist that was behind the desk. She was preparing for the day. And they told her and my other employee to sit here on these chairs and not move.
Basically, my daughter was here on her own, to be honest, and she was here by herself and the shutter was closed, and apparently she heard a lot of banging on the doors, and when she went into panic, she thought there was some crazy out there trying to get in.
And am I understanding correctly that you were strip searched as part of this?
Yeah, we were. Which was apart from humiliating, in the same breath they're telling you no, it's not you that they're after, and that they know you've done nothing wrong. And I mean, it's a whole lot of mind games, really. And across the other side of the courtyard, I can see my daughter standing there after I've walked out of a strip search, and knowing that your child's going to go through that shortly after you. It was gut-wrenching, to be honest. It's horrible. Shortly after, as everybody knows, they made it legal, and to sit there and know that you're the corner shop selling the same product that you were arrested for and strip searched and violated and humiliated, and, the poor doctor and his family going through hell for I don't know how many years.
They wanted to know where we keep our stuff, where we keep our money, and they took the cash registers that were at the clinic as well. Every piece of electronic equipment that there was taken away. I was at home preparing some stuff to come to the clinic. While I was downstairs on my computer, I hear the doorbell ring. And I went up to open, and there were a group of plainclothes policemen who said that they had a warrant to raid the house, and they asked me if I had anything illegal in the house. And I told them, as far as I know, I don't. I told them, feel free to come and see for yourselves. So I took them downstairs into my office, and they started searching all my desk and cabinets and drawers and fridge. All the products that I used to buy at the time used to come from European countries, and they all had the certificates of analysis showing that everything was under point 2. The way the law was written was that cannabis is illegal except for cannabinoid products with less than 0.2% THC. So in my mind, I knew that whatever I was importing, I was doing it according to what I was advised. Right. It still has no narcotic components in it because it's the THC that's the narcotic or the dangerous, potentially dangerous or controlled substance. After the raid at my house, we came in to the clinic. They asked, about the products, and I showed them the certificates of analysis, and I told them that these are CBD, not THC, but for them, it made no difference. Well, it was a very traumatic event in all senses. The first time that I was allowed to call my family was when I got to the depot, and I had to give them the number to call from the depot's landline. It seems that they already knew what was happening because it was all over the papers already. I was embarrassed and ashamed of the situation, but I had no control over the situation. So I just had to accept the situation and just, follow their instructions until maybe, justice will be served. And I had to wait almost 4 years for that. It felt like I was targeted. Maybe someone that doesn't agree with what I do or with what I prescribe. I was actually an advisor to the government and to the ministers to explain to them the difference between THC and CBD and what can be safely allowed and what should be controlled. And yet, even though, I obviously knew the subject in quite a lot of detail, I wasn't allowed to give my opinion. In the meantime, I did open a constitutional case to try and contest my freezing order, which was a freezing order on all my assets and all my bank accounts, and we tried to contest this freezing order and ask for it to be just limited to the proceeds of the alleged crime. But we did lose that court case just a couple of weeks ago, in fact. So that was another setback, and it was a bit discouraging. I carried on coming to work, seeing patients and helping people, and living in hope that one day, it would be over. Even traveling, for example, for a work conference, I would need to ask my lawyers to get permission from the court about 2 months in advance. I would need to go to the court to pick up my passport, take my passport to the passport office, have it stamped, restricting me to the countries where I will be traveling to and to the dates that I will be traveling to, on the condition that I had to pay between 2,000 to 5,000 euros deposit. Then while I was abroad, I needed to keep my mobile on at all times. And as soon as I got back from abroad, I needed to inform my inspector within 12 hours that I'm back in the country. And within 24 hours, I needed to return my passport to the court.
How was it for your family during that time?
They also went through the same situation that I was in. It was hard for my wife going to work, and even the school where my kids go, where, all the teachers and the headmaster knew about the situation, and, they questioned whether they could help or whether there was anything, that can be done. And they were very supportive, but at the back of their mind, they probably thought that I could possibly be accused for drug dealing. So, and even my children's friends at school would also pass a comment or two, like, your dad's going to prison or something like that. But they were strong, and we made it through. Hopefully I will get my belongings back, and I can't wait to travel without asking permission. What I read was that there could have been a potential of life in prison for what I was being charged.
What would your message be to authorities now?
Well, I know that they were all doing their job, and that some of them were actually quite nice. But if there's something that can avoid people suffering for so long, and all it takes is just a clarification of an interpretation of a clause in one of the laws, I don't think that it should be left for so long and leave people suffering in this way just because it's the normal court procedure and nothing can be done.